Hey guys, it's Lukian, and today I'm going to be doing the Midyear book Freakout tag. This is one of my favorite tags to film and to watch, and so I'm really excited to talk about these books. I've already read the questions and I already have, books with me, and yeah, so let's just get into it. Also, if you see me looking over here, I have a list of the questions over here, so that's why I'm looking over there, you know. So the first question is the best book that you've read so far this year, and I have two for this. I have more, but I didn't want to say any sequels because the next question is about sequels, so these are either standalone, well, these two are standalone books. But anyway, the first book that I have is An Emotion of Great Delight by Tahir Mafi. I talked about this book in my February wrap-up, but then I reread it in June, and I loved it even more, so I'm going to talk about this more in my June wrap-up. But I just absolutely love this book. I think it's a book that everybody should read. I don't love it as much as A Very Large Expanse of Sea, but I definitely still really enjoyed it, and I really want to reread it again, but I'm going to hold off on that, because I've already read it twice this year, but I still really loved it. I think it was so... it was very emotionally dense, but it was also very, there were moments of elation and light, and I just really loved it, and I think it was perfect for what it was, so yeah. Really loved this. And then the other one was Malibu Rising by Jenkins Reid. I read this in May, and I absolutely loved it. It's my second favorite Jenkins Reid book after The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I loved this book so much. I thought it was so fun, and I loved the format of it. The first part is basically following these four famous siblings, and it also goes back in time to show their parents. And then the second half is going hour by hour of this party that they're at, and you know that the house they're in is going to catch fire. And so it's just this amazing buildup of tension, and I really loved it. And you can see my thoughts in my May, no, was it my May? Yeah, my May wrap-up. So yeah, I really loved this one as well. And then the next question is the best sequel that you've read so far this year, and for that I have to go with Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. This is the second book in the Last Hour series. It is the sequel to Chain of Gold, and I have a full 50-minute review about this book that is spoiler-filled, so you can check out all my spoilery in-depth thoughts there. But I absolutely love this book. I think about it all the time, and I will not be complete until I have the third book in the series, whenever that comes out. Probably not for a while, but I just loved this so much. It takes so much willpower for me not to reread this immediately, because I just loved it so much, and I love all the characters in here. The plot was amazing, the writing. It's probably my favorite Cassandra Clare book ever, and it's definitely going to be in my top 3 favorite books of the year, because I just adored it so much. It's one of the best sequels that I've ever read. And then the other book that I have is Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. I know a lot of people were not a big fan of this book, but I really loved it. And again, I have a whole video about this book that I can link in the description box as well. It was just so freaking good. I loved the characters. I love how everything wrapped up in this book. And I had pretty low expectations going into this, but I still really loved it. And it's a great sequel, and I loved it. Also, that email was mine, not yours, so. I also want to add a question, which is about the best finale that I've read this year, and for that, I'm going with A Sky Beyond the Storm by Sabaa Tahir. I talked about this in my May wrap-up as well, but I loved this book so much. I thought it was a perfect finale, and I thought it wrapped up the series so well. I thought it did such a good job of bringing everything together from the previous books, and I loved how all the characters came together, and I loved the plot, and there were so many twists and turns in this book that I just was not expecting, and it had me by my throat the entire time I was reading it. So the next question is a new release that has come out but you haven't read yet, and I have quite a few for this. Some of them I own, some of them I don't, but the first is The Four Winds by Kristin Hannah. I love Kristin Hannah's books, and I have been wanting to read this for a really long time, but I'm going to wait until it's out in paperback, because I have all her other books in paperback, and I don't want them to be mismatched. But this is one that I really want to read that came out in February. The other one is Arusha and the City of Gold by Roshani Chokshi, which I plan to read sometime this summer. Same with People We Meet on Vacation. Same with Life's Too Short. I really want to read all those books right now, and I'm planning on doing so very soon. And then the next question is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I have a lot of these. So I have The Bronzed Beasts by Roshani Chokshi is probably my most anticipated for the second half of the year. It's the third and final book in the Gilded Wolves series, which is like my favorite series of all time. And then also The Excalibur Curse by Kiersten White, I'm super, super excited for. I also really love The Guinevere Deception and The Camelot Betrayal. Also, Gilded by Marissa Meyer, I'm really excited for. It's a Rumpelstiltskin retelling. And then Steelstriker by Marie Lu, which is the sequel to Skyhunter. And then Tahereh Mafi's book, which comes out in November. That has not been released yet, but that has not, like, no information has been released about it, but it's on the HarperCollins website, so, and it says it comes out November 16th, so, I'm excited for that. I think it is a Shatter Me novella. We shall see. The next question is about the biggest disappointment, and boy, do I have an answer for this. The Lost Book of the White by Cassandra, Clare, and Wesley Chu. I know, one of my favorite books of the year is Chain of Cold, and my least favorite book of the year is Lost Book of the White, both books by Cassandra Clare. But I hated this book. I gave it 1 star. I hated it. It was so bad. It was fine in the beginning, and I was like, okay, this could be okay. Because I really liked the first book in the series, but then things took a turn, and it went downhill so quickly, and it felt like this wasn't even written by Cassandra Clare, because all of the characters in here did not feel like themselves. The plot felt so, like, it felt like a recycled plot that had been in the Shadowhunter books before, but not done as well. And it was just so bad, and I hated it. So definitely this. And then for the biggest surprise of the year, I have a couple of answers for this. The first is Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. Again, I was not really expecting to love this, because there were some people that had gotten, like, early copies that said that it was not good, and were giving it, like, a lot of 1-star reviews, and so I was really scared. But I ended up giving it 5 stars, and I loved it. Another one is a book that I read recently, and that is Wilderlore, The Accidental Apprentice by Amanda Foody. I read this in the beginning of July, so I'm going to talk about it in my July wrap-up, but, like, when I do that. But I was not expecting to enjoy this as much as I did, and I actually really had a super fun time reading it. It's like a cute little middle grade story, and it was really fun, and I really liked it. And then the other one is The Library Book by Susan Orlean. I was not expecting to like this as much as I did, but I was, like, captivated while reading it. It's a nonfiction book, and I was just so engrossed, and I really, really liked that book. I thought it was so interesting and, like, so just, like, it was so good, and I loved reading it, and it was such a fun experience, and I kind of forgot that I had read it, but, like, I thought about it again, and I was like, wow, I really, really enjoyed that book, so. Okay, so this next question actually tripped me up a lot, and it was your favorite author, either, like, a new author or new to you, and I had no idea who to pick, because none of the 5-star books that I've read this year have been by authors that are debuts or, like, new-to-me authors. But I came up with a pretty good one, I think. And that is Brigid Kemmerer. This is A Curse so Dark and Lonely, and I read this in January, and surprisingly really, really enjoyed it. And I'm really excited to pick up A Heart So Fierce and Broken, which is the second book in the series. And she also has a new series coming out this fall called Defy the Night, I think. And I'm really excited to pick that one up. And I just really liked her writing, and I really liked the way that she crafted her fantasy world, and I think she did a really, really good job, so I'm going to say this because I will definitely be looking out for, like, more of her books. Next is Newest Fictional Crush, and I don't have fictional crushes, I just, like, don't. I think that's weird. Like, I like it when characters feel like people, but, like, I don't see them like people enough to, like, have crushes on them, so we're gonna skip that question and move on to your favorite character. And for that, I actually picked Talon from Skyhunter by Marie Lu. I actually really, really enjoyed her character, and I thought she was really, really interesting. And I really enjoyed her, and I thought she was really fun and interesting, and I thought she was very different from other characters that I've read before, and I liked how she was strong, but not in, like, she was strong, like, physically, but she was also really strong mentally, and I really loved seeing the different facets to her personality, and seeing especially, like, her relationship with her mom, which was really, like, sweet to me, and I definitely really enjoyed that aspect as well. And then the next question is a book that made you cry. I really don't cry very often in books, but, like, I did tear up a little bit at Chain of Iron and Rule of Wolves, and A Sky Beyond the Storm and An Emotion of Great Delay, but I don't think I have cried at all reading a book this year, and if I have, it clearly wasn't that memorable, so we're kind of just gonna blow past that question. And the next one is a book that made you happy, and one of them was Wilderlore, The Accidental Apprentice. This was just a really cute middle grade story, and it did make me happy. The other one was The Box in the Woods by Maureen Johnson. I love this series, the Truly Devious series, and I loved returning for the characters with Stevie and Nate and Janelle. And it made me really happy, and even though I was stressed reading this because of the mystery, I still really liked it, and it made me happy, and definitely put a smile on my face. As did Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren. I really enjoyed this book as well, and it definitely made me happy. Christina Lauren's books always make me happy, and I just really like her books, or their books. I always forget it's two authors because it's one name, but yeah. Definitely really loved this, and it definitely made me happy because it was just so cute, and I really, really liked it. And then the other one, which I've already read before, but it's fine, is The Tea Dragon Society by Kay O'Neill. I literally have read this like 3 times, and I reread it last night, and again, it always makes me smile and makes me laugh, and it makes me really happy and warm inside, so that is definitely another one. Then we have the most beautiful book that you have bought/received this year, and one of them is definitely Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. This is my favorite Cassandra Clare cover ever. I love it so much. I think it's so beautiful. I love the blue and I love the gold. Also, I didn't buy or receive this book. I got it from, I got the ebook from the library, and that was Wilderlore, The Accidental Apprentice by Foody. I love this cover so much. It's one of my favorite covers. I think it is so cute, and I just love how it captures the story so well. And then the last one is Skyhunter by Marie Lu. I feel like I literally said the same books 1,000 times, but whatever. I love this cover so much. I think it is so pretty. And then it has that underneath, on the pages, and then underneath it has that, which is so cool. But that went by really fast. I think that is the fastest I've ever filmed a video, ever. But that is it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I'd love to know what your answers are. Sorry, there's a fuzz. I'd love to know what your answers are for the Midyear book Freakout tag, what your favorite books were, things that made you cry, things that made you happy, all that stuff. So, yeah. But yeah. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. All my social media links are in the description box below, and I will see you next week with my June wrap-up. Bye!